In a UK court recently, one wealthy Chinese businessman was screaming as he was handcuffed and dragged from a golf course into a black car by a crypto ransom gang who demanded $12 million from him. Today's episode is sponsored by Cake Wallet, where you can send, receive, and even exchange your crypto right from within the wallet. Cake Wallet is open source and non-custodial, so you control your own private keys. Available today on iOS, macOS, Android, and Linux. And StealthEX, a privacy-centric crypto exchange which enables you to make crypto-to-crypto exchanges anonymously. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome back again to Enter Crypto with me, Chris Kenyon. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about crime and, kidnapping. A kidnapping that's happened in the UK, and it's happened to a wealthy Chinese businessman by all accounts. So, as always, guys, let's quickly jump straight into this article, see what we can learn, see what it's about, and then we'll comment after. So, a wealthy Chinese businessman told a jury today he was snatched from a golf course and kept in a cage by a gang who demanded a $15 million crypto ransom. Dylan Huang, who is in his 30s, was playing golf with his PA and two other women at Brocket Hall in Hertfordshire when 5 men jumped out of a car and rushed at him. One pointed a gun at him, he was hit in the face and eyes and forced into the back of a black Audi Q7, which left the scene at speed. In a recorded interview with the police, Mr. Huang, who lives in Mill Hill in North London and Singapore, said he tried very hard to resist but was hit on the eyes and face. He said, "They put me on the back seat of the car with somebody holding my head and the other holding my feet. They put a cover over my head, they put a cover to my head and I couldn't see anything. In the car, I tried to resist and tried to kick the door. I was told if I tried to do this again, they would kill me with a knife straight away. They put me down in the space between the back seat and the front seat, and they put their feet on my head and my body." Mr. Huang was interviewed at home by the police the day after he was released. He was wearing a purple silk robe and continually rubbed his eyes and face. He said after an hour and a half the car stopped and he got the impression the men were changing the car number plates. Speaking through a Mandarin interpreter, he said they drove for another 2 hours before he was taken to a house, led up a spiral staircase to a room where he was placed in a cage. "I couldn't stand up, my legs couldn't stretch straight, my head was covered and they had already put handcuffs on my hands and legs." Prosecutor Russell Pine said Mr. Huang was taken to a property at Thursley, near Guildford in Surrey, where he was blindfolded and tape was put over his mouth. He was walked up some spiral stairs before being placed in a cage where he could not stand up straight. He was given food but was not allowed to use the lavatory. The prosecutor said the victim was asked about his means and how a ransom would be paid. They wanted to be paid in $15 million. They wanted to be paid $15 million in Bitcoin. After several hours, it seemed the kidnappers were getting angry. They started to hurt him, hitting his leg with some sort of object. But the court heard his 30-hour ordeal suddenly ended when he was driven off in a car and released in a remote area near the Silvermere golf course in Cobham, which is in Surrey, close to the junction of the M25 and A3, and he raised the alarm at a house at around 11 p.m. on the night of Wednesday the 25th of October last year. Mr. Huang told the police that no ransom had been paid to the men, either by himself or by any of his contacts. And so really this businessman got very lucky. Well, you could say he was unlucky as well that this happened to him, but I mean in the end he got lucky because he didn't actually pay any ransom and still walked away with his life with just a few bruises. And things could have been much worse. He could have had to pay the $12 million, or he could have had to, $15 million, or they could have killed him, or both. He could have paid the $15 million, and then they just killed him anyway. So it could have been a lot worse. So he actually walked away with under the circumstances, the best case scenario. Really, they just let him go. But as people in the crypto community, we must look at things like this and ask the question, could this, I know we're not millionaires and billionaires obviously, but if you hold crypto, you've got to think, am I being watched? Are the people, are you doing things that could make yourself a target? And one way around that is to just not tell anybody that you've got any crypto at all. Nobody needs to know except your, say, your spouse or somebody very close that you live with, you know, that you can truly, truly trust. And another thing I would always advise people to do is to get a safety deposit box, as they call them in the UK, in the US, or I think they call them security boxes in the UK. And it's, you know, in the bank vaults, and there's even private companies that do it now. Now, there is risk associated with this because, I mean, what's to stop? How do you know that anybody can't go in there and without you knowing? Go into your safety deposit box, take a picture of your seed phrase, and then you'll never know until you've lost your money. And so there is a risk associated. There's also a risk from the law. You know, all of a sudden now the government has access. If they can get a warrant, if they think that you've done something wrong or suspicious or suspects you've done something wrong, they can open that box that's linked to you and your name. So there are risks. But there are risks with everything, and this kind of setting it up in a vault or in a bank's, in a bank safe, it just makes it very difficult, because then you've got nothing in your home. There's nothing that you can be exploited for. No one can come into your home, break in, steal it when you're not there, or hold you to ransom when you are there. And which is even worse, because you don't have the access, you don't have the means to actually access the crypto to give the attacker. And certainly they're not going to want you to be going to the bank where there's loads of cameras and going and I'm not saying they wouldn't do that, but it's another step removed from what they would want, and they're much more likely to not bother after that point because they don't want to get caught, obviously. And so I actually wanted to speak about this particular article for the simple reason that I want to try and get people to think about how they hold crypto, where they hold it, where you put your seed phrase, because if we're really going to be our own bank, so to speak, then we have responsibility with that. We can't, the bank looks after our money usually. We just go and ask, basically when you go to a cash machine, you're asking for permission for them to give you your own money back. And they look after the security and the safety of your money. And if they can't, then an insurance company pays. If they get burgled or if they get robbed, then insurance company will pay. You will not lose a single penny. Whereas, obviously, with things like this, if we're going to be our own bank and we're going to look after our own money, we now have to take on that responsibility. And so we have to plan and make sure that it's safe and secure. Which obviously means we have to educate ourselves. So an interesting article, and there's definitely something to learn from it. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on that notifications bell so that you don't miss out on any future updates. And I'll see you all tomorrow evening. Take care.